fans, Larry Vela here. I'm here with AdamHarry.
Hey everybody.
And here it is.
Disciples of Tzeentch.
Disciples of Tzeentch, the newest Chaos Battletome. We are back after a long absence, several months of being in 40K. We are back to the Age of Sigmar. It
is, and this is a pretty nice book. It's hardback, obviously. This is kind of a change from the softbacks they've been doing.
Correct. This is a full Battletome. This is like a whole new faction, tons of new models. This is going to be very similar to Fire Slayers, or very similar to say Beastclaw Raiders. In
a lot of ways too, it kind of reminded me, just based on the layout and kind of what you'll see when we flip through it, but it kind of reminds me of a traditional Warhammer Armies book. You remember those?
Correct.
Where it had like unit descriptions up front and then rules in the back and all that fun stuff.
It is the identical format to Beastclaw Raiders. So you've seen Beastclaw Raiders, and that is how it. It's a full size codex. It's approximately 150 pages.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump on in.
Going.
But again, like you're saying, it's 136 pages, give or take a couple because of the
136 pages. All the basic stuff. The first chunk of the book, first approximately 50 pages, is all background. What are the Disciples of Tzeentch? There's Tzeentch Archonites. There's Servants of Change, which are demons. Yeah. So you get two different
armies, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of overlap too, and you'll see that in the book. But they're all Tzeentch sub-faction. Some of them are mortals, some of them are demons. It's just kind of varies.
And then the last 100 pages, the last 2/3 of the book is all of the actual rules, army special rules, spells, artifacts, all that kind of standard stuff that you need to actually play it, and then all the battalions and war scrolls.
Right. And we're gonna show off a couple of those things. So if you're hoping for
who's that?
Who's that? New Kairos model, very cool.
Bay Weaver.
Yep. Very cool. So
yes, also very much unlike. Some of the, Age of Sigmar has the different types of books. There's the books that are like, this book is important because it lets you use all your existing models, like Beastclaw Raiders. But this book, so many new models. This is this is like Sylvaneth. This is one of the you buy this book
because it's all new.
It's
not all new, but it's a bunch of new stuff. Yeah. Speaking of new stuff, there's a ton of new artwork to show off.
If anyone wants more pictures of Tzeentch and you think, man, there's just not enough pictures of Tzeentch on the internet, this book
is for you.
This book is for you. Who's that?
It's one of the changelings, right?
It's one of the changelings.
One of the changelings.
I mean, in theory, there's infinite changelings because of infinite dimensions. Yeah. But sure.
Yeah.
There he is. For all of you who are used to his old miniature where he's just kind of disturbingly low to the ground, like maybe he's a midget, he is a midget no more. he's
I think they prefer to be called little people.
He's okay. He's tall.
He's no longer a little person. He's very tall.
He's tall and floats on magic.
And you just get a bunch of background about
tons
all
of background.
Stuff,
all the children change. It's
awesome.
It's tons of new artwork. Also with these types of books, you get the books where you're like, this is like a retread, and there's a lot of old material and a lot of this is all new stuff. Tons of new art because there's so many new models. So everything's awesome and new.
A bunch of the new I call cabals, hosts.
We have
conflagrations. I don't know, whatever you want to call them.
Arcanite clan.
Arcanite clan,
clans.
Cool stuff.
Cool stuff like this. Check this out.
This is one of my favorite new parts of the book for sure.
So lots of good art. So this is these are images and background for all of the artifacts that are in the book. So there's all the different crazy kinds of stabs and the paradoxical shield, and so all these things that are on this page also have rules and are the artifacts.
Yeah, very cool. Very
the artifacts are kind of cool because they specifically tell you in the rules for artifacts. They're like, you can just pick off these charts and pick whichever artifact you want. And their big thing is they're like, pick an artifact that is modeled correctly on your dude. So if you want your dude to like have this thing, model him with like thing, and that's what they look like.
Yeah,
go have fun.
Staff of Tomorrow.
And I'm sure that there are bits for most of these things.
Oh yeah, like the Scroll of Secret Ire is probably like the Scroll of the Dark Arts from the Kyric Acolyte box or something like that, or the bird. The bird. Tzeentch Archonites. These are not just the demons though, right? These are
the mortal.
The cults. Yeah, the cult followers, right?
Yep.
Arch conspirators.
There you go. Here's the cool thing. Here's how a cult is put together, so you get to see how it all works. Here's the Magisters and the Zongor Shamans and the Fate Masters. So this is all mortal. These are an Arcanite cult is these are mortal followers, and then you get the different types of dudes.
And Zangors are technically mortals, right?
No.
They're not?
They're beastmen.
They are, beastmen are mortal in the sense that...
Well, yes.
Yes, that's what I mean.
They are, yes. But they are mortals, they are alive.
Yeah, they're not demons.
They are not demons.
They are living, breathing.
But they are beastmen.
But they are beastmen, so...
They are beastmen of Tzeentch.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then I like this artwork of all the different marks of change, which is
very,
just
very
kind of
cool.
Cool, interesting stuff to read about. So...
all the color sections.
Color schemes for days.
Also, it's Tzeentch, so this is the army for all you guys to pull out your crazy, insane, loud colors. Just gonna put that out there.
Yep.
If you're tired of painting orcs and ogres, it's all earth tones. And
yeah. You want some bright blues and punchy colors?
Like if you don't like the Death Guard because they're all muddy and dark, and you really want loud,
bright colors.
If you like, this is like the official army of the 1980s.
Bingo. This is more of these cool, almost timelines, but not quite. It's all
this is their version.
Timey-wimey,
it's the timeline chart that you get in all the 40K things, and you get them in here too. Yeah. Servants of Change, here's a big section. All miniatures, all the time.
Yeah, it's going to go over basically the different units for those miniatures.
Correct. So all the different backgrounds, all their backgrounds.
We're going to skip ahead a little because you can get the idea. There's horrors.
What is an Ogroid Thaumaturge? Now you get to know. Basically, it's a giant ogre whose
background of him.
Who's so cool, he changed the way his name is spelled. And he through magic.
You know, it still sounds like something you should go talk to the doctor about. I'm just going to throw that out there. So, the Gaunt Summoners.
Gaunt Summoners are super cool, by the way.
Very Pan's Labyrinth.
They are very cool.
Yeah. The curse.
Hey, the curse. He made it.
He made it.
He made it. He came over from Warhammer Fantasy, and now he has it with his same miniature. And actually, he's really good. So if you have that dude on your shelf,
you're on your way.
You dust him off because he's going to get to shine
Zangors.
again.
Again, they are the beastkin, but they are dedicated to Tzeentch.
Zangors are super cool. Flip. All right. Okay. So I'm going to tell you all the story because it's awesome. So the first thing you'll notice is that Kyric acolytes, these are the mortal cultists who are basically your foot soldiers, and a lot of people have noticed these guys are super ripped.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Like they're bigger than
Blood Reavers.
Yeah, than the Khorne guys.
Yeah,
who are just sitting there, lifting rocks all
day. They are definitely challenging Khorne Reavers for the buffest.
So here's the awesome secret of Kyric acolytes.
Is it their diet changes constantly?
No. Yeah.
Their workouts change constantly.
It's the Atkins diet. No, it's not the Atkins diet. No, it is. You go through all of the different trials to be a Tzeentch cultist, and of course they're all magical trials and whatever. And basically, if you're not weeded out and die during the process, you gain the ability to basically cast a glamour on yourself, which means you can appear however you want to. So they even point out that because Tzeentch tends to be about magic and change, most of his followers are like old men or kids or like little scrawny people or ancient spells and magic. So the first thing they do when they become cultists is they all make themselves look awesome,
look giant,
which is great.
So that it was all a lie. The buff is a lie.
It was all a lie.
Good to know. So that explains their crappy statistics as far as attacking.
You're like, well, yeah, those guys should be better.
Yeah.
Look at their models. Those are the Zongors. Absolutely awesome.
Armies of Unreason. Is this where we get into the pictures, right? All the different miniatures?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
There is double-headed Kairos.
That's Kairos. There's a normal Lord of Change. There's
more Lords of Changes.
There's the new Changeling.
Yep, who's all floaty and
Screamers. Yep. Okay, things that are new. Blue Horrors. Hey, we have Blue Horrors. Finally.
Is that guy got a hot dog?
It's not a hot dog.
That guy's got like a hot dog. I don't know. He's got like a rock.
Brimstone Horrors.
Pink Horrors is behind them too.
Hey, look, it's an actual picture where Stormcast Eternals are going to get their butts kicked. I love that.
I want to point out too, there's a ton of different heads for the Lord of Change model.
We'll get to that in just a second.
There's a Blue
More Lord of Change. Yep, there's the Blue Scribes. They're the same. Changeling. Just look at him. So much nicer.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Super cool.
Screamers and Flyer. Yeah.
Let me tell you, when you're surrounded by this many horrors, there is never enough hammers. Never enough.
It's true.
Okay, so here we go. This is the big giant mini everyone is excited about. So
I'm pumped about.
So things we're going to notice about the kit. So first, here's the Kairos Fate Weaver, a build of him as Kairos Fate Weaver. Here's the standard Lord of Change. The first thing you're going to notice is we got all kinds of different options. We have swords, we have staffs, we have different staffs, we have yet a different. So there's multiple staffs.
Yep.
the
open hand, closed hand, like sword. Hand. There's different
heads. And then you have at least 4 different head options. So there's 1, 2 shown here, and then these are also different ones we looked. So there's at least 4. Now I don't know whether I don't know whether both of the Kylo's Fate. In other words, I don't know whether these 4 heads are all generic and can be mixed and matched.
Yeah.
But But at least one of the Kylo's Fate Weaver heads on this model does appear on a model of just a normal one-headed Lord of Change.
I would assume that you could mix and match if you want. It's your model.
So there's going to be a lot of options on this thing.
There's all the new crazy horrors that you can do.
Blue horrors. They're here. They're
this
smaller
is a new
and kind of sad.
For the Flamers of Tzeentch, by the way. Brimstones.
Brimstone horrors. Blue scribes. They look the same. And there he is. Here's the big new die. This is
the new model. Notice how he's floating and he's all like magic-y.
And his magic has little screaming faces in it.
It's true.
I like it.
That's a crazy. The Burning Chariot of Tzeentch. Again, Flamers of Tzeentch.
If you like fire, that is the model for you.
The Herald on the Burning Chariot, which is cool.
Those
are all cool models.
All the same.
Yep.
And
more of the Acolytes, which again, those.
Hey, look, they're fighting the Fire Slayers.
Sweet. They're gonna have a hot fire on fire battle.
I agree.
There's a lot of awesome new models. They're fighting Aurochs over here.
There's the Curseling.
Yep.
Back from Fantasy.
Thurberchurch.
Yep.
Ogroid.
The bird. So this is actually they talk about the Vulchark. The Vulchark is actually a carrion. So it is a vulture who somehow
eats magic.
Right. He did something.
Yeah.
Maybe he liked to change. Maybe he ate something that he shouldn't have. But now he's a vulture of change.
The interesting rules about it too is if a wizard casts within a certain range of them, on like a 5-up, they just do a wound to the wizard. So it's like,
he's cool. Yeah. Magisters, Magisters are pretty much the equivalent now in this army of what used to be Chaos Sorcerers. So this is just kind of your kind of low level sorcerer default guy.
Right.
Fate Masters, these are your warriors of chaos.
Okay.
Like a Chaos Lord. So these are the guys these are your fighters. Curselings are they're kind of like almost a hybrid between the two.
Which makes sense.
They're really neat, and they have, Curselings have a super cool ability in that they can basically catch spells that have been fired at them and return them and fire them back at the people who launch them at them. And if they do that successfully, the people who originally fired them can't defend against them.
Ouch.
Which is super cool. The Ogroid Thaumaturge, this is actually one of the best models, not just models, but just units in this book. They're really cost efficient, and basically this is your muscle. So as you would imagine, outside of the Lords of Change, which are obviously greater demons and super big and impressive, they're also really, really expensive. This army doesn't have a lot of just like tough guys who can just walk in and just like beat face. That's what these guys are for.
Okay.
They're both magical, and they have a lot of wounds, and they kick butt.
Cool.
And they're not super expensive.
Yep.
Gaunt Summoner, this is effectively just a way up-powered version of the Magister. He's your super sorcerer.
Cool. And then, of course, the Zangor Shamans, too. They're going to have models on discs of Tzeentch and all that fun stuff. So, speaking of which...
Tons of new models. Super awesome. So, this page is all mortals. So, we have our our Zangor Enlightened, who have staffs, and the Zangor Skyfires, who have bows. So, those are the elite troops. They're both on discs of the Zangor, who do different things.
And if they hit, I believe if they hit on like a 6 or something like that, you can't
these guys are firing Tzeentch arrows, which basically means they know where you're going to be before you know where you want to be. So they are super accurate, and their big special rule is that they have something that's kind of equivalent to rending, to where basically if they roll a 6 on there to hit, you just take a mortal wound, and there's nothing you can, you're done. You put the dice down, and you just take it, which is cool.
And they have an example army here, so
it's pretty cool. Going over that.
And here we have the Tides of Change. This is where we get into some of the rules and stuff.
Yep.
We're not going to show off all the units and all the rules, but we do want to show off a good
So we'll get you started. This is what this whole section is about.
Yep.
So we have, same thing. If you've seen Beast Claw Raiders, if you saw Sylvaneth, it's the same thing. So you're going to get it's going to define the allegiances, and the allegiance options of the army. So when you build your lists, I'll declare that I am a Tzeentch allegiance, or I'm a whatever allegiance, and that's going to give you special rules based on how you dedicate your army. And then there's different sub-armies within here. There's Arcanites, there's the demon, so you can kind of go the mortal route. You can go the overall Tzeentch route, or you could be like just
very,
immortals
specific,
or just demons, and then you get different options with that.
It refers to the battle traits, command traits.
You're gonna get your command traits. Just a quick note: there's a lot of artifacts in this book.
Yes.
You're gonna get 4 charts of 6 artifacts: 2 for mortals, 2 for Arcanites, 2 for demons, and then you get 2 different lores of magic, which is important for this army because, as you would imagine, this is an army that's casting a lot of magic, so they need lots of different spells.
Right on.
And they have lots of units that are casting multiple spells a turn, which is going to be a huge advantage. Now, there's still issues with the General's Handbook in that if you're playing pitch battles, you still have big overriding rules. Like you have the rule of 1, right? You can only cast a single spell once per round.
Right.
So this is an army that needs to have a giant pool of spells because they have so many spellcasters that you need to have, you need
to have multiple ways to cast different spells.
Right, exactly. You need to have this giant Santa sack of like 12 different spells because you might be casting, that all need to be different so that you can be casting them all every time.
Yep. Well, we're going to cut to our first battalion or war scroll?
I think we'll do war scroll.
War scroll. Here we go. So the first major thing we're going to look at as far as war scrolls is the lore change. Now, these are actually available already on the website.
Yeah, you can go download the PDF right now.
Yeah, so
just go to Games Workshop site and click on Lore to Change.
If you have the Age of Sigmar app on your phone, you can probably pull it there too.
Right.
So all the war scrolls are out there, but we just wanted to talk about them because this model is going to be
super crazy.
It's going to be something that catches a lot of people's eyes.
Now, this Lore to Change, we're going to tell you, he is slightly changed from the Lore to Change that is in. There are older versions of him.
Yes.
Like the version of him that exists in the Grand Alliance Chaos book is different than this one. Yeah. And this one costs a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it is definitely
What do you think?
Cool.
You think it's better though?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely better. So we'll go over just some of his basics. Obviously, 14 wounds.
Yeah.
10 bravery, a 4-up save, and his move. This is kind of the new thing that they rearranged it. Is his move is what.
Is also affected by the number of wounds he's taken.
Correct. So there's a previous version of this guy whose move was fixed, and he had a number of attacks
that would decrease or whatever.
Right, that decreased, and this guy is the other way. His attacks are fixed.
Well, yeah. The cool thing is he's got two types of attacks. He's got missile attacks and melee weapon. His missile attack with the Rod of Sorcery, 18-inch range, 2d6 worth of shots, and it hits on a 3 and wounds on a 3. So it's pretty mean. Like you can clear some chaff with that one pretty easily. Then the melee weapons, again, based on what you equip them with, either the Staff of Tzeentch, Baleful sword, or the and he's got his curved beak and wicked talons. So I'm pretty sure he always gets that one. Again, the ranges vary on the weapon type. The attacks vary on that as well. The to hits, all of them hit on a 4-up. To wound, again, is based with the Staff of Tzeentch is based on how many wounds he's suffered.
Right.
So that changes overall.
But note also, it starts as wounding on a 2+, and it never gets worse than a 4+.
Yeah.
So he's still pretty nasty.
Yeah, and then of course the rending and damage. For all those different weapons.
Yeah, this guy's a monster.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you the Lord of Change. We're going to show you one battalion, and then we're going to go back and talk about the army special rules. So just because a lot of this stuff, these guys are really interesting because remember that the big army mechanic that makes this army cool is Destiny dice. And we're gonna get so remember that.
Yes.
So when you think about all these things, and you're like, well,
these random dice. Oh, what good is that? Well, you'll see.
You'll see because Destiny dice is very cool.
And then we also have his abilities down here, command abilities, magic, and stuff like that.
He can fly.
Yep, pretty cool. So he's basically, with that move 10, he just skips around the board all at once and doesn't have to, move in a straight line, essentially, or like he can jump over units and things like that. So, Mastery of Magic. So when you're casting
an unbinding
or unbinding roll for the Lord change the result of the lowest die so that it matches the highest. So already
he's pretty good.
Yeah. Spell Thief, which is if the result of an unbinding roll for a Lord change is 9 or more, it learns the spell being cast and can cast it in the subsequent turns.
Which is just awesome.
Yeah,
and fluffy.
Yeah, it is.
It has 9. And
did you roll?
Yeah. Basically, and this is a theme that you're going to see throughout this entire book, which is that these guys are good at magic.
Yeah.
Because they should be.
Yeah, they should be.
They should be good at this is their thing.
His command ability, Beacon of Sorcery. So when it does this, Until the end of your next hero phase, you can add 1 to all casting and unbinding rolls made for friendly Tzeentch Demon Wizards that are within 18 inches of the Lord of Change.
So that's any unit that has the keywords Tzeentch, Demon, and Wizards. And by the way, just shocker, there's a lot of them in this army. There are many. That's not like 1 or 2 units. There's a bunch of Tzeentch Demon Wizards.
Yeah. It also has the Infernal Gateway. A lot of people might remember that from Old Fantasy, where it would like suck units in.
So really quick, here's the big deal. And this isn't new for him, but for the army, we'll talk about it. Which is magic. This guy can cast 2 spells per phase, and he can unbind, and he can attempt to unbind 2. Now, pretty much everything else in the game
is just 1.
Is 1 and 1, and this is not a Lord of Change only thing. There are 4 units in this army list that can do that, and some of those formations and battalions that you can buy and let you take groups of these guys. So this army is going to be hurling huge amounts of magic, and it is going to be making tons of unbinding rolls, which means it's going to be really hard to get magic off against it.
Right.
As it should be.
But the Infernal Gateway is really cool. So basically, if you remember it from Old Fantasy, that thing was a unit swallower.
Yes.
This one is basically, you target a unit, you pass your roll, and then you roll 9 dice. And if those dice meet or beat the number here, based on the number of wounds he's taken, that unit suffers that many mortal wounds. So if you see here, it starts at a 3-up and goes to a 5-up. So you're rolling 9 dice. Odds of rolling a 3-up, a bunch of 3-ups on 9 dice, pretty good. So you're gonna be sucking, like you're gonna just cause a bunch of wounds to suck guys through the Infernal Gateway, which is cool. It's pretty cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and stop here. Again, all those rules you can go check out either on the phone app or from GW Direct, however you want to get them. Let's go take a look at some of those battalions though. So
okay.
The battalion we wanted to look at.
And this book has tons of battalions.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Well over a dozen. There's battalions for mortals. There's battalions for the demons. We're going to show you one.
This one seems to be causing a lot of a scuffle or ruffle online, but that's because
I love this battalion.
We need to talk about how it works.
Correct.
And so it's a bit of a miscommunication. For
right. So we're going to talk about, first of all, how it reads just on paper first. Then we're going to talk about it in the context of the General's Handbook because
that affects pitch battles.
Exactly. So first thing, this battalion is crazy bonkers insane. That is the official scientific crazy term. Term for it. It is crazy bonkers insane.
What's in the battalion to start with?
So you have a Herald of Tzeentch. There he is.
You can't see him there.
He's got the
camera, but he's there.
There's a picture of him up there. He's got the moon head and he's laughing. And he should be laughing because he's leading 8 or more units that you choose in any combination from pink horrors, blue horrors, or brimstone horrors. Basically, this is a battalion of horrors.
Yes. Now, 8 or more.
Or more.
You have to have a minimum of 8.
Right. Now, does that seem? That seems on first glance like it's terrible until you realize that pink horrors are, they're like
okay.
They're okay. They're not too expensive for a unit of 10 of them. They're like I forgot.
You can go up to 30.
Right. But the blue horrors and brimstone horrors, those are dirt cheap units. So you can easily build this formation without using a giant amount of points in your army. So you can easily put this formation into a pitched battle army. It's
you can fit it pretty easily.
Yeah. And their special ability, horrors without number. In each of your hero phases, add D6 models to each unit of pink horrors and or blue horrors, and D3 models to each unit of brimstone horrors in your battalion.
So basically D3 bases.
So basically, if you didn't have brimstone horrors, and you should have brimstone horrors, we'll talk about that. But if you didn't, that's 8D6 free models a turn.
Oh, it's yes.
Well,
yes. If you just take pink and blue horrors, at minimum, you're getting 8d6 worth of free models.
Which is, once again, crazy insane.
On paper, this sounds redonkulous.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Basically, you can't kill this unit because it's
you can't kill the battalion.
Right. It's just going to keep coming back. Yeah. So now we get into the
why is it not as crazy
as it sounds? So now we're going to talk about pitched battles in the General's Handbook.
In the spectrum of the General's Handbook, how summoning works is different. So summoning is creating new units.
Correct.
And that any spell or ability that creates new units, again, this is just creating new ones, you have to
pay for
those in the reserve pool.
Right. So you have to actually buy those units already and keep them aside on the tabletop. and then whenever a spell or ability would require them to be placed because you already purchased them, then you can place them on the board. But if you didn't spend points on them, they just don't show up.
Right. So hang on, we'll get to that. So the other thing about that is in the General's Handbook, again, in the context of the General's Handbook, a unit cannot go above its starting size.
Ever.
Under
any circumstance.
Right. So if you have a unit of 10 pink horrors, that's what you bought here.
Right.
That unit will never get larger than 10 pink horrors.
Right.
Now, if you rolled that say that unit took 4 wounds or whatever, lost 4 pink horrors.
Drops down to 6.
And you rolled a d6 and you got a 6 on that roll.
Right.
4 of those pink horrors would come back.
Right.
Because you would hit the top again. You're back up to 10.
And then you're good.
Those other 2 horrors would either have to start a new unit.
Right.
Or be destroyed.
Correct.
And if you didn't pay the points for a new unit of them, you don't get them.
Right. So this power, you'll note, is not creating new units. It's simply adding models to the units.
Yes.
Which means, absolutely, these units that you buy, even in a pitched battle, they will be healing themselves back up to whatever original size you purchased them.
Yes.
Now, the issue comes in with what happens with splitting.
Yes.
So pink horrors and blue horrors obviously have that rule. Every time you kill a pink horror,
well, it's the blue horrors technically have the splitting rule.
Correct.
And brimstone horrors have the splitting rule.
Right. So,
and this is an ability. Again, key thing is splitting is an ability.
Right. So what happens is basically, let's say that you kill 4 pink horrors. You're going to put those models aside. They're dead. You put them aside, and then at the start of the next turn, you're going to, each of those pink horrors is going to become 2 blue horrors, and if they're
it's technically at the end of the phase. Whatever.
Sure, and those new blue horrors will be placed into any nearby blue horrors unit.
It's like 6 inches.
Right. If there's one available.
Yep.
Then they just become additional models to that unit. Now that's not creating a new unit, which means those models, even in pitched battle, will work. Now, if there's not a nearby unit, then those models have to be form their own unit, which, unless you purchase models as part of your reserve pool, wouldn't happen.
Right.
So what you end up with a formation like this is basically there's going to be an intelligent way. There's going to be an optimum way to actually purchase and use this.
Correct.
Which means in a pitched battle format, what you're going to want to be doing is you're going to want to make sure, first of all, that you do have some units of all of the different types of demons.
Yep.
So that there exist those kind of, those little buckets.
The waterfall effect.
Yeah, exactly. You need those buckets to all be there so that whenever someone splits, there is a nearby unit of the next appropriate size already waiting to accept them.
Yes.
So you're going to want to purchase this battalion with some percentage of blue horrors, some percentage of pink horrors, and some percentage of brimstone horrors, and then you're going to want to keep this entire battalion really close to each other. Like this battalion can't be spread out and going all over the place, or it's not going to work because they're going to get too far apart, and then when they split, the models will be lost.
Right.
So you need to keep them.
Unless you have the stuff in reserves and you've bought a bunch of you could do it that way too, but we think that if you ball them up and just have it so that when your pink horrors die and you're making blue horrors, your blue horror unit's getting those units back, those models they've lost back, and then you're rolling your die, and hopefully the pink horrors are also refilling back too. So it's just this constant waterfall of effects that are triggering to refill your losses basically. So this makes it super hard to kill. How do you combat that?
How do you combat it? It's really tough. What you're gonna have to do is to fight this battalion, you're gonna have to be really good with your fire and assault discipline. You basically have to pick a single unit from the battalion and you have to kill it entirely in one turn. You can't let it survive.
Yeah, because if you wipe out the unit entirely, it can't regrow from the horror without number rule because it's gone.
Right. Now it'll still split.
It'll still split
and feed into other units, but that unit is gone forever.
Right. But if those other units don't have basically, like if they started at 10, they can't go above that. Right.
The other.
So you got to just make sure that those splits are wasted. Is basically what I'm saying.
And then there's another strategy when you're fighting a unit like this, which is not only do you need to kill units entirely in a single turn, you need to kill categories of demons in a particular order. So as an example, you want to kill all the brimstone horrors, because once all the brimstone horror units are dead, then anytime you kill blue horrors, they have no place to split into, and those models are wasted. So you have to kill it in reverse order. So you need to attack the Brimstone Horrors first, kill them, then attack the blues,
or
kill
if some
them.
way you can kill all of the pink horrors right then and there, and they have no blue horror casualties for.
Right. If you could somehow split it up.
Yeah, it's really, I think good players are going to be taking advantage of this, and good players are going to be able to dissect it, but either way.
But it's definitely a very cool unit.
Yeah, and this is just one of the many cool battalions in this book. So,
Allegiance abilities. This is the big thing that is the defining characteristic for this army. Is they have this thing called Masters of Destiny.
This thing.
It's these 2 columns, and what it is this army, before the game starts, is going to roll 9 dice, and they suggest make these different dice so you don't mix them up.
Don't mix them up.
Have 9, like if you bought those Tzeentch dice as an example.
There you go.
Those would be good.
Or if you have just a different size dice.
I like casino dice myself.
Right.
Because they're fair.
Sure.
And those 9 dice are going to form a pool that is going to be referred to as your army's destiny dice. So, as an example, you're going to get these 9 dice. You're going to put them aside, and you're going to roll them, and then whatever they roll, that's fixed. So you're like, oh, okay, I have I have a couple 6s, and I have some 5s and 4s and 2 or 3 1s, and those dice stay aside. And then what you can do is at any point during the game, while you're playing, you can take any of the following. This chart right here.
Yeah.
Casting rolls, unbinding rolls, run, charge, hit, wound, save, damage, or battle shock tests. So any of those at any point during the game, you can say, you know what? This roll's really important, and I don't like what I just rolled. I'm going to replace it. And then what you do is you would say, okay, well, this casting roll, I needed 2 dice for that. Well, I rolled these 2, and I don't like the result, so I'm instead going to, let's look over at my Destiny dice pool. Oh, I really want a 6 and a 4, and I'll take those 2 out of the pool, and they replace the ones that I just rolled. Boom. So, and you get to keep doing that all game until your Destiny pool is established.
There are ways to get those dice back.
Sure.
Again, we're not going to cover all the little minutia there, but you can replenish the pool in different ways.
Yeah, so there's absolutely, and that is yet another theme. So to me, what it feels most like is this army on paper doesn't seem like it has oh my god, these are insane, crazy units, but this army feels a lot like the old Sisters of Battle armies did with faith points.
Sure.
Cool. Basically, the army was pretty average, and there weren't units in it that were super awesome, except that, with a pool of 9 dice.
Yeah, being able to swap out whatever dice that you need for the perfect roll.
Right, because we all play this game, and we all know that lots of times the game comes down to those 3 or 4 critical moments when something absolutely has to go your way.
Yeah.
This is an army that's going to make sure that it always goes their way.
Yep.
2 or 3 times a game. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And there are numerous, so that's how the Destiny pool works. And from a big picture point of view, this army has numerous ways, from spells to artifacts to battalion special rules to some units even have special abilities. There are numerous mechanics and little ways to tweak that Destiny dice pool. So as an example, there are some artifacts that maybe let you modify or re-roll some of the dice that are in your pool if you don't like them. There are some units that let you add dice to the pool. If you, for instance, there's a sword that you can get that anytime you kill an enemy hero, you get a bonus die and it just gets added to your pool.
Yeah.
And there's ways, so there's all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. This is a very cool mechanic, very cool army. We're going to hop over to one last thing. One last thing, of course, this is the Disciples of Tzeentch book. Go pick it up. Should be out hopefully by the time you see this video. Either
I want to see the back.
Oh yeah, one last time. Look at the back cover here. Hopefully by the time you see this video, if it's not out already, go pick it up. But again, if you want to go check out some of this stuff early, if you're watching this before the book's out, the War Scrolls, those are available in the app, again, on GW's website. You can go look at the units and check those out too, just to see what you're going to be playing with, essentially.
Yeah, a very cool army with beautiful new models and tons of them.
And if you were concerned about, this was actually the last thing I want to mention too, is if you were concerned about pitch battle points, those are in this book too.
Yes.
So again, very much reminds me of a codex of old, where it's got unit descriptions in the front, rules in the back, points in the back.
Yep.
This is everything you need to play the Disciples of Tzeentch. So go check it out. I'm AdamHarry from BoLS.
And I'm Larry Vela.
Thanks for watching.